Folks, before I start this video, I need to apologize to one of my subscribers who sent me two of these reels. This is the 2000 size, but he also sent me a 1000 size for free all the way back in March. That was 7 months ago. And all this time, I haven't done nothing with these reels. I haven't fished them. I put line right away and I played with them for 5 minutes for what it's worth, but I haven't fished them. I haven't made a video about them. And I feel that this is kind of a disappointment for the gentleman who sent me these reels. And I do feel that once I accept the gift, I kind of do owe him something, email, video, something about them. And I didn't. So for what it's worth, I do apologize for that. But now I'm finally determined to give this reel a good inspection. Then we're gonna give it a good test on the water. And then I'll give you my honest opinion to take this block of guilt off my back. This Chinese jewelry, my friends, is Apex Temple 2000. The 1000 looks exactly the same. It is one good looking reel. This reel is full of my favorite gunmetal color. Look at this. This is a $27 reel. It has a one-piece bail. I don't even remember how many bearings it has. Let me see how many bearings it has. But usually it's 10, 20. With these Chinese reels, you always get 4 bearings in the knob. So the total number of bearings is like 10 or 15. But this one doesn't even say. I'll be damned. I'll put it somewhere on the screen. But this is the reel that I have in 2000 in 2 different sizes. One in 2000, one in 1000. The only thing that you will see different is the knob. It comes with these huge chunky EVA knobs. I cannot stand these things, folks. I cannot stand them even for the test. I immediately removed them and I put 2. These are very cheap plastic knobs from my Bass Pro Shop, from a bait caster reel. I removed those handles too, but they're kind of gray. They look nice with the gunmetal color and they're low profile. They're much better than this thick EVA. But anyway, that's not a defect of the reel. But this reel looks very nice. This frame is all metal. I don't know what kind of metal. Is it steel? Is it aluminum? It's not magnesium, but it's metal, extremely rigid, very positive bail. And this thing, folks, I will tell you again. This is one smooth reel. I don't care if you own a Stella and Exist 2022. Nobody will lift this reel and tell me it's not smooth. Things are not as perfectly balanced as in the Legalis, so it still doesn't feel as finessey and as nice as Legalis. But just in terms of smoothness, this is one smooth reel. Now, I don't know if it's a coincidence because I have reviewed 4 Chinese reels in the last 2 years, and it's always like that. But these Chinese reels are always very nice and very good price, but they always seem to have one acute problem. One was missing, something from the drag stack. The other one was hitting when the spool was all the way up and all the way down. I forgot the other one. You can watch those videos. This one also have one pretty big problem, and that is the drag. Listen to this drag. Where is the microphone? I'm not using external microphone. Just the microphone on the iPhone here. Inconsistent and almost inaudible sound, and you have to travel like a full rotation of the spool to hear just 3 clicks. It's ridiculous. We're gonna inspect the drag sound, but on top of that, when you just pull the line with your hand, it's extremely inconsistent. We'll see how it is on the water, but when I pull, it's like zzz, 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 zzz. Very jerky, very inconsistent drag. So I already have a feeling that this drag is not gonna be by my taste, especially for ultralight fishing. This 2000 size, if you use it for, I don't know, bass fishing, drag is not that important. But for ultralight fishing, the 1000 size, it will probably bother me. But let's open the reel and see what's inside. Look at this drag clicker mechanism. This is not Daiwa, this is not Shimano. It's either Penn or Abu Garcia, but in the process of stealing, they botched it and it sounds muffled and horrible. The clicks are very not crisp. They're like, it's barely a click. It needs to bang and hit like tang, 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 tang. I don't know. I think in Penn and in or Abu, whatever it was, it did work fine. But here in the process of stealing it, something got lost in the translation. Okay, let's see what's inside the drag stack. Usually high quality carbon. In all of these Chinese reels, high quality carbon inside, man. Let me tell you, this spring was compressed in the spool pretty good. I just pried it off one side and it flew all the way to the other end of the room. All these years, never seen that happen, but it is one thick and very elastic spring here. As far as the stack inside, exactly what I expected. These cheap Chinese reels, all of them put carbon discs inside because it sounds and looks so nice on the pictures when they advertise it. And for the Chinese, carbon is still very cheap, but it does have 1, 2, 3 carbon discs inside of this 2000 size reel. Now the carbon discs are tiny. They're really, look, they're smaller than my thumbnail. They're really tiny, so the total surface is not that much, but this way they can say that they have not 1, not 2, but 3 carbon discs. Now, I don't want to fix this reel too much because I'll tell you why. It's very unlikely that I'm going to fish this reel outside of the test. But if you are going to use a reel with carbon discs, my advice to you is use the thickest automotive grease you have in your garage. Something heavy like a bearing grease. That's the only way to give some consistency to drag. Drag is just jerky by nature. It will hold, and then they slip very fast, like zzz, and then they hit the brakes again, hold, and then zzz, slip again. You need thick grease to give any consistency to carbon. I hate carbon personally, not just for ultralight reels, but even for carp fishing. If I have a choice, never carbon for me. Even for carp fishing, for 30-pound carp, for a 4000 size reel, give me felt. Look at this, a screw-on handle. You get a screw-on handle for $27. Would you believe that? And that's a metal handle, it's not plastic handle. And it's not steel, this has to be aluminum. And look at this. You have a seal here on the knob, and you have a seal on the knob on top of the drag stack. This reel has some kind of sealing here integrated. But look at this. There is a hole here. Now after all the sealing, when you remove this, there is a hole. Is this good or bad? I say it's good. Why? Because you can reach here with a screwdriver and put some grease on the gears without having to disassemble the whole reel. You can reach all the way in with a screwdriver. You can reach pretty far in if you know what you're doing, and put some grease there. Look at all of the complexity that comes from having this reverse switch here. So you have one more hole for water to get in, and a bunch of plastics and springs that are easy to break and rust, and these switches, they go bad. They stop being springy anymore. They stop feeling like switch. Anyway, I'm very firmly against these anti-reverse switches here. Every time I say that, I get a lot of people telling me that I'm not a good enough angler to understand why that's necessary. All right, we got a real mess here, but we got some very interesting findings. I saw something that I hadn't seen before, so I went on the website to see what they advertised. And I can confirm their advertisement claims actually. First of all, this frame is very light, but you can tell it's metal. They say it's magnesium frame. My gosh, maybe it is. Otherwise, I don't know what other metal that is so light. Then they say this main shaft here is not steel, but is, what is it, aircraft aluminum or something like this, some special high strength aluminum. I don't know again if it's aluminum, but it is metal and it's very light. I'm buying it. Most probably it is aluminum. I don't know if it's high strength, but this thing is very light. I kind of believe it. Also, this is the first time in my life, folks, I see pinion gear that is not yellow. They say the pinion gear is also high strength aluminum. And my gosh, maybe it is. By the way, this is the same anti-reverse that I had in my Bass Pro Shops reel that I pulled out of the lake and it was completely disintegrated. This is not as far as I know, it's not a Chinese anti-reverse. I thought it was Korean because that Bass Pro Shop reel was Korean. I don't know, maybe it is Chinese. I thought it was Korean, but that's the same anti-reverse bearing for sure. So folks, this reel, on the bright side, legit, some very lightweight metal frame. I don't know, again, is it magnesium, is it some kind of other alloy, but it's very light and very rigid. This gear appears of high quality, and the shaft, main shaft, is of high quality. The only disappointing thing is, again, the same game the Chinese always play. If it's a Chinese reel, they always play this game. They say it has 10 bearings, okay, but 4 of them are in the knob. And on the one place where you do need a bearing, here on the bottom of the pinion gear, it always goes straight into the frame. Where's the bearing? There is no bearing there. It goes, and the other Chinese reels was the same. It goes straight into the frame. Now the frame is not plastic in this case, it is metal frame, but you gotta have a bearing here, man, even if a cheap Chinese bearing. Oh, one more thing, everything here is greased with some high quality, at least I like it, very thick. Look, everything is over greased with very thick grease. Folks, I don't know how many bolts I stripped to open this reel. Everything is super tight because every bolt has this Loctite, and then there are hex screws. Don't open this reel, I'm telling you. Do not try to open this reel. Just drive it as long as you can. Even you don't have to open to dab grease. This grease will not fall off for the life of the reel. Just don't mess. Out of the box, it's perfect for what you're buying. Okay, you're not buying a Stella Vanquish. You're buying a $27 beater. For the 27 bucks, it's already 5 times better than expectations. Just be happy, use it the way it is, don't touch it, and when the time comes, toss it in the garbage with clean conscience. This is a very simple bulletproof design. the reel is not gonna break in here. If something breaks, it's not gonna fail the gears inside. Trust me, this design is simple. This frame is metal. That's not where it's gonna fail. Where it's gonna fail is already, where did it go? That goddamn spring on the anti-reverse that I told you is gonna jump, here it is, jumped on me. So how I'm gonna put this back on with the needles, I don't know. Look at this nipple here. You remember I showed you the O-ring that the Legalis has and the Sahara has? This little rubber ring there. When it rides in this slot here, smoothens the whole feeling. Now this reel is super smooth even without this micro rubber ring there, but it is worth noting that Daiwa and Shimano have it and this one doesn't. So on paper you have 3 carbon discs and you have all kinds of aluminum parts and magnesium parts and 10 bearings. But the little things that are actually make a difference, the rubber ring here or the bearing under the pinion, they are lacking. All right, it did take some cursing, I'm not gonna lie, but she is back together in all of its former glory. The anti-reverse works. All right. That spring was actually not that difficult to put back together, but nevertheless, do not mess with this reel. Don't open this reel. One last thing I want to do before we go on the water and we try to catch a few fish with this. Let me show you the weights because I'm not sure the website had the weights. This is the 2000 size that's actually comparable to 2500 size Legalis, 230 grams. That's like a 2500 size reel, like a bass reel. If you're buying this, buy it for bass fishing, not for crappie fishing. It's too heavy for crappie fishing. Also, for some reason, this reel has a lot more resistance than the 1000. I mean, I saw myself, it was a lot of grease packed there, and maybe they're using a lighter grease. I'm not gonna open this one too. This one either has less grease or maybe different grease, but my gosh, the resistance on this Doodle, very, very low resistance, folks. So let me give you the weight of this one. This one is only 200 grams. So let's do it one more time. I think I clocked it once. It was even less than 200. Let me tear it here. Okay. Yeah, 199. Well, it's about 200 grams, much lighter than the other. And actually, I believe it's a few grams lighter than the Legalis 1000. So the 1000 size is the one I actually recommend out of the entire series. I'm an ultralight angler to begin with. The weight here is very low and the resistance is very low. They are both super smooth, and if you use this for bass fishing, you don't care about resistance anyway. But here, man, the resistance is very, very low. And based on the disassembly, I can tell you that even though the bearing under the pinion is missing, the parts in this reel far exceed your expectation of a $27 reel. I mean, just the handle must cost $27. And then you have the one-piece bail, the spool. Look at the clip, man. Look at this nice, expensive line clip. I mean, you have a metal frame which appears to be magnesium. I don't know what's going on here, but the parts in this reel far exceed expectation for a $27 reel. Gar is splashing everywhere. fish or... Yeah, fish. I knew it. This hook missed already 2 fish. What's wrong with it? Missed 2 fish already. That was a fish. Even though I don't see nothing. I don't want to believe it, but I don't see nothing. I think they're... Ow. They're too close to the mooring sail, and the reflections of the mooring sail are too strong, and it doesn't separate them. Got another one. And that's with a 3-gram jig head. Fighting too strong to be a crappie. Would love this to be a crappie. Fighting good, man. Yeah, it's a bass. This bass is terrible on this reel, the drag. The reel is not bad, very smooth, even under pressure. But the drag is, and on top of that the knob screws down on very aggressive thread, if you can imagine that. So 2 clicks, it's too tight. Then you back off 2 clicks, and it's too loose. And then there is only 1 click where it's kind of okay. But even there, it's not perfect. Like, you don't have this infinite adjustment that you have in Shimano and Daiwa reels. We are all so spoiled with that. What kind of mouth is this? It's a small mouth. Oh, I got him pretty good. It's a small mouth on the Apex 1000. Ooh! Get you Apex 1000 and you can catch specimen like this.